guys, it's Sam, and this is my spoilery gush video for Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. As I said, this video will have spoilers in it, so if you have not read this book, then go ahead and check out my spoiler-free review, which will be linked on the screen. I also might unintentionally have spoilers in here for the GUSH trilogy, so if you have not read and finished the GUSH trilogy, then I would be cautious about entering this video. So as you already know, this book ripped out my heart and made me feel things, and I enjoyed every single second of it. I was so excited to see all the different areas that we got to experience. We got to hear about all the different cultures. I loved Ketterdam as a city. I think it is amazing. It reminded me a lot of the city in Mistborn. I forget what the name of it is, but basically it just felt like a mix of that and like the movie Gangs of New York and all the criminal underground elements. I love those like dirty, grungy, criminal-filled cities in stories. It's just totally my thing when you have like warring gangs and everything, and people just have to be really street smart, and it just spoke to me on a deep emotional level. So I absolutely loved this city, and I hope we get to see more of it in the second book. I liked what we got to see in the first book, but I hope we get to see a little more of it in the second book. I also love that we got to see Fjerda. I'm horrible with the names in this book, guys. But I loved that it was kind of like another Scandinavian country, and that they had a lot of superstition there, and it was totally different than Ravka. And I love learning a lot more about their culture, them and the Shu as well, and everybody else, the other cultures that we got to experience. I love that we got tidbits of everything, because the GUSH trilogy, while I love it, is all about Ravka, which I hold very dear to my heart. I like all the little references we got to Ravka in this book, but it was nice to kind of open up that world and see everything else on the map and how they're interacting with each other and what was going on while everything in the GUSH trilogy was happening, and how they all interact with each other and the consequences of a lot that happened in the GUSH trilogy. Through the whole thing, I was thinking about what would happen if it hadn't turned out the way it did in the GUSH trilogy, and if the Darkling hadn't died. And the Darkling was really trying to protect Ravka, and now, from what we're hearing in here, is quite exposed. So although he had very bad methods, I know, I'm interested to see how it would have turned out if we didn't have that happen. Now we have people developing this horrible drug that basically enslaves Grisha and kills them and makes them all powerful. And what would the Darkling do in that situation? And what would Alina do? And what does Alina know about this? What is Alina thinking? Basically is what I'm thinking the entire time. And there's little mentions of like Nikolai and Genya and Zoya, and it just hurts my heart. I love my babies. As soon as we had mention of them at all, I just like got chills and just, oh my precious. But I did keep thinking about what the consequences of the GUSH trilogy meant for Ravka and the rest of the world, and how if things had been different, and if the Darkling hadn't died, or if he hadn't used such horrible means and everything, and he was a very powerful protector for that country, and so now what does this mean, this like vulnerability for them? I thought that was really interesting, and I was thinking about it through the whole story. Let me just go and wax poetic about all the characters in here, shall we? So first, my favorite character honestly has to be Inej. I love all the characters, and Kaz and Nina are like right below her, but she is my favorite. As soon as she was introduced, I loved her. I love the like thief, wraith type characters, very stealthy, very assassin-like. She is my favorite. I loved her backstory and how tragic she is, but how she's really fighting her fears, and that she's an amazing character. I love the scene when she was in the incinerator shaft and she decided that she was gonna go out and live her own life and basically be a pirate, like hunting down slaver ships. Oh, so amazing. It was just a wonderful scene. And I love her so, so much, and I am really upset about the ending of it and her being gone, and I just love her so much. I love the relationship between her and Kaz, and that she really breaks down his walls and he trusts her so much, and she does trust him kind of begrudgingly. She doesn't want to, but she does, and they have this amazing history together. And when at the very end she touched his cheek and was like, "I will have you without armor or not at all," I was like, oh my god. Oh my god, I wanted to throw myself out the window. It was amazing. I love them so, so much, and I just love her as a character. I think she's incredibly talented and strong and amazing, and I love all of her knives and how she names the knives after the saints, and how she says different kind of religious platitudes and stuff, and how she's kind of like this wise person, this like almost old soul within a child's body. I mean, she is a teenager, so she's just so interesting, and I love that she has one of her knives named after Alina. Oh my gosh. That is probably why I'm so connected to her, is that like Alina was mentioned by her almost immediately, and they have kind of a connection. She's very connected to like Alina as a saint, and that just speaks to me because I'm connected to Alina as a saint. So I love her as a character, and I hope that everything works out for her because I love her so much. And then we have Kaz, who what can I even say about Kaz as a character? I am absolutely in love with him. I find him so incredibly complex. I love that we have this leader character that walks with a limp and that has a lot of issues. He has a very complex past, and it makes him really believable because at first I'm like, there's a 17-year-old that's in charge of an entire gang basically and is a ruthless murderer, like really? But then when you get his backstory, you're like, oh, yeah, I believe you. Okay, I believe you. And the fact that he has a lot of fears too and that he can't touch people. He has this like skin phobia because of everything that happened with his brother, and that is fascinating to me that he has to wear this kind of armor and he can weave a story and a legend around himself and his people, and that is amazing. He is so incredibly smart, and I could not get over how he navigated the entire situation. Every time I thought that they were in trouble and that they didn't know what was going on, he had orchestrated something. They had all kind of orchestrated something. I mean, this is an incredible team. It's not just about Kaz, which is what I really appreciate, that he is not the only thing that's important in this team, but that he has a way of orchestrating everything and working everything out and being a step ahead of everybody else, and I find him so fascinating. I don't know how he thought about everything so seamlessly and flawlessly, and he always could predict what someone else was gonna do, and oh, I just love him. Again, him and Inej are my OTP for this book. I absolutely adore them. There's another couple that I really enjoy as well, but they are my favorite. I just can't. And I hope that everything works out. I love that he's going after her, and he mentioned he's going after her in order to let her go and to let her live her own life, and I hope all that works out, and just, oh my gosh, I just love them so much. And I hope that he really grows a lot through the next book. I'm sure that he will, but that he kind of overcomes some of those things and some of those fears and kind of takes off some of that armor so they can be together. Oh my gosh, they're just like a power couple. That is a powerhouse couple who can take over the whole world, and I love them. And we have Nina, who's probably my third favorite. I love that we had a Grisha in here. Oh my gosh, well, multiple Grisha, but I'll get to that. I love her so much. I love her sass. I love her spunk. I love that she can manipulate a situation. I love that she's really talented and that she has a lot of loyalty to the Grisha, and that we kind of get references to some of the Grisha and like Zoya and stuff like that. And then her relationship and her whole ordeal with Matthias and everything that went down there, and how she really let her guard down, and how she's kind of showing him that Grisha are not evil. Amazing. I just love her as a character. I love that connection to the Grisha and the original trilogy kind of through her, and that she's, again, incredibly complex, has an incredibly complex backstory. And originally she was somebody that was kind of looking out for herself, but now she's kind of trying to make amends for some of the things that she did. And she has an incredible spunk and an incredible personality, and I love her so, so much. As far as Matthias, I adore him as well. I liked that he had this kind of like religious zealot element to the group in a way, and that he was kind of coming to terms with the fact that maybe he was steered wrong, and that since he loves Nina, that he knows that Grisha are people too, and that some of his teachings weren't correct, and that some of their methods are not good, and everything else, and how he has to kind of turn his back on his people a little bit. Just a very interesting character. I loved that Nina and him had this banter going on, this pre-existing connection that we got to see throughout the book, and that they really had to overcome a lot of things with each other. They went from wanting to kill each other at the beginning to really coming to terms with everything and really being a very strong couple. I'm interested to see what happens with her. I love that she took the drug to save everybody, but I hope that she can get over that addiction. I am so heartbroken. I hope he can help her through it. Stresses me out. These couples stress me out. Then we have Jesper. I love that he's a sharpshooter, and I love that he's like a flashy dresser and a gambler. We're not really told if he is gay or bi. He definitely is interested in men, but I wasn't sure exactly where he stood with everything, so I find him incredibly interesting. I like that we got a lot of different things going on with him, that he is from a race that we haven't really seen before, from a place we haven't really seen before, and that he is a LGBTQ+ character, which is really enjoyable. I love his sass. I love that he is incredibly funny. He is the one-liner of the group. And I love that he is a fabricator. Oh my gosh, I was not expecting that whatsoever. I love him so, so much. I'm finding it interesting how he's going to deal with this fact of like, should I be a Grisha and take that on as part of my identity, or should I keep being just myself as Jesper, as a sharpshooter? And that he's very multi-talented, obviously amazing sharpshooter. I love sharpshooter characters. But that he also has this really cool fabricator ability, and what does that mean? And is he going to try to stand up for the Grisha people now and kind of align with them after everything that he saw up in Ferida? Like, is he going to actually kind of step up and be part of the Grisha, or is he going to be kind of solo still? We shall see, but I find him incredibly interesting, and I can't wait to see more of his character development in the next book. And then we have the Precious Cinnamon Bun that is Wylan. I wasn't really sure what to think of him through most of the book. He's probably my least favorite character, not because I didn't like him, but just because he wasn't really doing much and we didn't really get his perspective at all. I now know why that is, but I wasn't really sure what to think of him. I liked his little kind of like the situation with him and Jesper, where Jesper was always kind of flirting with him and kind of poking at him, and that he really doesn't know what to do with this group of people, that he ran away from home, and he has a very sad past as well, but that he didn't really know how to fit in, and eventually he kind of overcame all of that and became a part of this group. And him and Jesper's little relationship is very cute. I'm interested to see what happens with that, and if he does get changed back now, like what happens with this tailoring that Nina did, and is he going to get changed back, and all of the angst that that will cause with their kind of little relationship. But I'm interested to see how he works his way even more into the crew in the future. He is just kind of like a baby criminal, and I'm interested to see what happens in the next book and how he kind of grows. As far as the plot, there is so much to say, but I enjoyed every single second of it. I found it incredibly well paced. I loved all the different things that end up happening. I loved everything within the ice court and how they slipped in and out of every different situation, and they were all overcoming some of their fears and stuff through the ice court, and it brought out the best and the worst in them. And I highly, highly enjoyed it. Also, was not expecting Pekka, I think his name, Pekka Rollins, to be alive at the end. I was for sure that Cass had killed him, but I'm interested to see what happens with that. And once they take down the merchant, what's gonna happen with Pekka? And there's gonna be kind of like 2 boss battles in the next book. What's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? I just love them so, so much. I can't wait for them to be all reunited again, and I can't wait for the next book. I know that I have a year to wait, over a year now since I read this before it even was released, but I cannot wait for the next book. I'm still thinking about these characters. I can't wait to go back and reread this book once I get a finished copy, because I pre-ordered this, obviously. I can't wait to go back and like tab everything and really analyze everything and just think about everything and just experience this all over again. So comment down below, let me know what you thought of Six of Crows. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see all of you guys soon. Bye!